Hey everyone, and welcome to Mira Developer by Mira World. Today, we are jumping right in and getting our hands dirty with a project that'll take you from a simple idea all the way to a working command line app.
You know, you've probably heard this a million times, but it is absolutely true. Theory is one thing, but building is where you really learn. And today, we're going to build a classic, a to-do list app, but we're doing it as a command line interface, a CLI using the Go programming language.
So, what's the game plan? First, we'll set our goal. Then, we'll design the blueprint for our tasks. After that, we'll put together the building blocks, the core functions. We'll see how the whole assembly line comes together, talk about the big picture, and then wrap it all up with a challenge just for you. All right, so first things first, what are we actually building? The goal here is a simple, no-frills program that lets you manage a to-do list right from your terminal. No mouse, no fancy windows, just you and the command line getting things done. And to keep things nice and focused, our little app is going to do three things really well. We'll be able to add new tasks, see everything on our list, and of course, mark tasks as complete. That's it. Simple, super useful, and a perfect scope for learning. Let's talk about the blueprint. You know, before you build a house, you need a plan, right? Well, it's the same in programming. Before we can manage tasks, we have to define what a task even is inside our app. And in Go, the tool we use for that is called a struct. Now, don't let the name scare you, just think of it exactly like a blueprint. It doesn't hold any information itself, but it defines the shape of the data we're going to work with. If you've used other languages, this is a lot like a class or an object. It's just Go's way of creating custom data types. And here is our actual blueprint in code. We're creating a task struct. And we're saying that every single task in our app will have two things: a title, which is just text, and a completed status, which is a Boolean, basically a simple true or false. Is it done yet? Yep or no. That's our blueprint. Okay, the blueprint is done. Now for the fun part, building the machinery. We need functions, our building blocks, that will actually do the work of creating and managing all these tasks for us. So the most logical first question is, how do we get a new task onto our list in the first place? Well, for that, we need a special function that has one job and one job only, adding tasks. Our add task function is pretty straightforward. First, it takes our task blueprint and creates a brand new task. Now, obviously, a new task isn't finished yet, so it automatically sets the completed status to false. And finally, it sticks this new task onto our master list. In Go, we use something called a slice for this, which you can just think of as a flexible list that can grow whenever we need it to. Okay, so we're adding tasks to this list, but that's not very helpful if we can't see them, right? It's like writing a grocery list with invisible ink. So how do we actually show the whole list to the user? This is the job of our list tasks function. It's super simple. It just goes through every single task on our list one by one and prints out its title and whether it's done or not right there in the terminal. All right, so we can add tasks and we can see them. What's the last piece of the puzzle for our core functionality? Actually checking things off the list. So how do we do that? And this illustrates it perfectly. Our complete task function is pretty clever. You just tell it which task you want to complete by its position in the list. It then finds that specific task and just flips its completed status from false to true. You can see right here how only that first task changes from a cross to a check mark. Done. So we have all these individual parts, right? We've got the data blueprint, we have functions to add, list, and complete tasks, but they're just like parts sitting on a factory floor. How do we put them all together on an assembly line so that they actually run and do something useful? In Go, that's the job of the main function. It's the starting pistol for our entire program. Think of it like the factory foreman. It calls our other functions in a specific order to simulate what a user might do. It'll call add task a couple of times, then list tasks to show us everything, then it'll call complete task on one of them, and finally, list tasks again to show us the result. And when that main function runs its course, this is what we get. This is the final output you'd see in your terminal. A nice, clean list of our tasks with that first one all checked off. All our different building blocks are working together in perfect harmony. Okay, let's zoom out for a minute and look at the big picture. Yeah, we just walked through a tiny little to-do app. But why does a project this simple matter so much? Well, because the concepts we just used are the absolute foundation of software development at any scale. Just think about what we did conceptually. You've defined your own custom data types with structs. You've managed lists of data that can change and grow using slices. You've controlled how the program flows with loops, and you've kept your code clean and reusable with functions. These aren't just for little hobby projects. And that right there is the key takeaway. These concepts are the bedrock of professional software. I mean it. The biggest, most complex systems you can think of, the ones running massive companies, they're all built using these exact same fundamental ideas. They just, have a lot more of them. So this explainer gave you the blueprint, the concepts. But to really, truly turn this knowledge into a real skill, the most important part is what you do next. You have to take this foundation and build on it yourself. So here's your challenge, straight from the source material. Can you take what we've covered and build a new function, a delete task function, that can remove an item from the list? Or, if you're feeling ambitious, could you build a user menu that makes the whole app interactive? That's where it starts to get really fun.
Hey, if you enjoyed this explainer and it helped you out, let us know in the comments what feature you would add to this app. And of course, make sure you subscribe to Mira Developer for a lot more projects and lessons. Thanks for hanging out with us, and happy coding!